It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the two business owners of Hoop Boys Podcast, a basketball podcast. How are y'all doing today?
That's good. Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start a basketball podcast?
Chase, you want me to take this one?
You could take this one, yeah.
All right, cool. So, how we knew we wanted to start a basketball podcast is because, me and C Proc, we work together, and every time I just our idle talk would just be basketball, probably for our whole shift, and we both have an infatuation with the Knicks, so we had some camaraderie there, and then he came up with this idea maybe towards the end of last year. And we just like, yeah, let's just give it a try. And it's just been very fun the whole time. And it's cool because I'm working with one of my good friends, and the workflow is just seamless. It's not a headache. It's always fun. So this is something I think that we can keep up for this entire season and more seasons to come.
That's amazing. How did y'all come up with the name Hoop Boys for your podcast?
Well, it's funny. We were kicking around what we were going to call this show, and we were trying to think of little tongue-in-cheek references, like pick some random pop culture reference that has some kind of basketball significance, and then mutate it into a name. And then we were just like, why don't we just call it Hoops Boys? Because we have a text message thread with two of our other former coworkers. And we all just kicked the can around on basketball stuff, and mainly our shared heartbreak of the Knicks.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's just call it Hoops Boys. Let's do it.
Yeah.
What do y'all cover in the Hoop Boys podcast?
So basically, all what we cover is everything basketball, man. We talk about from jerseys to player stats to things that happened in the past to things that happen in the current. Just all basketball, man. All NBA basketball.
Of course, with the NBA city jerseys, have y'all ranked those yet?
We actually did just record a segment yesterday morning for next week's show, talking about what we like and we dislike about the new jerseys, and just alternate jerseys in general that different teams use. So we did so much provide a number ranking, but we did kind of go in a little heavy on tearing the bad ones apart and glorifying the good ones.
Yeah.
Which ones did y'all rank high in y'all's favorite?
I think for me, I picked the Warriors, the Oakland jersey, like the old Warriors jersey. I don't know if you've seen that one. That was one of my favorite city jerseys that came out this year. How about you, Chase?
The ones I really like I do really like the Oakland one for the same reason. It's a throwback to the Antoine Jameson days. But back in the days when you didn't know who the Warriors were unless you actually cared about basketball.
Right.
Because they were not very good. They were not a very good team to watch.
That's true.
But the other one I did like is that red sunset cityscape Nuggets jersey.
Yes, that jersey's still
that one. And for some reason, as much as I typically have a distaste for the Lakers, that baby blue Minneapolis throwback is it's just so nice to see them run around.
Yeah.
Do y'all talk about college basketball and professional basketball, or only NBA?
We've mainly stuck to NBA, but we do have a segment planned to record for next week's show with a college basketball insider of sorts, our own college basketball insider. We may not be big enough to pick up some ESPN talent right now, but we have our own experts that we could promote going head to head with anybody on TV. So we've got a little bit of college ball in store for next show.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, with March Madness coming up shortly, do y'all plan on covering much college basketball whenever it comes to March Madness, or only sticking NBA?
I think we've decided maybe that college segment that we're about to record soon, maybe like a reoccurring thing. So I'm pretty sure once March Madness happens, we're gonna be definitely talking about it and uh, talking about the swings. You know how college basketball is. But yeah, definitely we're gonna be talking about college basketball more often.
Yeah, March Madness is such a huge event. It would be remiss of us to ignore it completely, especially because when you think about it, what is college's relationship to the NBA, but it's developmentally kind of.
Yeah,
So I mean, it is something we have to pay in mind to. So it's as James said, we definitely need to flip this upcoming insider segment into something bigger for tournament time and focus on that a little bit more.
yeah.
What are some topics that y'all cover?
Well, we did our jersey segment. On the last episode, we unveiled a New York Knicks roundtable to
Right.
talk about what we like about this current team and what we would do to improve it, and reminisce about some of our favorite memories. Since a lot of times the Knicks' good memories are few and far between. Um, and then we predict awards. We try to juice the fan interaction for mailbags when we can get something. So it's we kind of try to keep it moving a little bit. We don't want to be stagnant talking about the same topics every show.
Yeah.
Of course, did y'all start before, like when there was no basketball happening during the pandemic, or did y'all start just as soon as basketball came back?
Um, we started like as soon as basketball came back, like the start of the season. Our first show was the first week, right?
Yeah, first week of the
Uh,
year.
First week of the year. And then we just we kept it up. We do it bi-weekly, so our shows cover 2 weeks at a time, and it's really cool though.
Yeah,
What
we don't. It's basketball is a daily sport, of course, and so we can't inundate the audience too much with talking the same things every week. So that's why we decided to break it up to bi-weekly episodes.
Yeah.
what are some of your future plans whenever it comes to the Hoop Boys podcast?
Um.
It's kind of open.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it'd be great to get enough of a following to be able to monetize it. Yeah, because we have our audio channels as well as video sidecar on YouTube. So it'd be great to build enough of a following to monetize it. But I mean, as far as that, the door is kind of open after that. I mean, once the season's over, we'll figure out how to continue it next year, or talk or bring in other sports, or keep this pure just NBA. I mean, we have this structure of which we think is a good thing going, talking NBA, but it's kind of fluid, I suppose.
What is something that you learned now that you didn't know before starting a basketball podcast?
Um. One thing I'll start. One thing that I've learned is how to lean on our friends for help, and it's not like a bad thing, but they've all our friends that we asked, they've come through. Am I lying, Chase? Like,
No, we
and
ask, hey, you want to be on the show? They're like, yeah, I'll do it.
right, and to me, like you can really see how teamwork makes the dream work. Like we need me and Chase need each other. Like we both provide different things for the show. Chase is like our producer of sorts. Like he's the one putting the scripts together and cutting the show and all that. And I really appreciate him for that. I don't know if you know that, bro, but I just wanted to say that in this forum.
I appreciate you too, because you're coming up with the music and the graphics and giving our show some bling. Like I can mess with video all day, but like when you put some kind of creative graphic or music track in front of me, I'm like, what is this nonsense? So James gives us the style.
What is something that you learned, Chase, that you didn't know beforehand?
Really, it's really a grog to kind of figure out what technologies you need to use to make the show fluid. Because we found that we were recording on this one site called Riverside, which was working very well, but recording the videos, pretty bulky videos, and the compressed video, like or compared to if you're just going to use the video from Zoom, it was a little trickier to manipulate, and sometimes we were recording the audio separately to kind of get a higher quality audio podcast for the Amazons and the Spotify's of the world, and that sometimes trying to sync up the video and the audio is a little rough, and I'm using Adobe Premiere Elements to cut this together, and it's not Premiere. it's not like using regular Premiere, so it's a little tricky to get it. So really getting into a flow of using different technical softwares has been my biggest learning curve. But it's been good because I'm like, I have to figure out how to get this transition to work. Then I go and research, how do you do this in Adobe Premiere Elements? And then I get the little rundown of doing it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's easy enough. So then I go searching through the options of how to execute each transition or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't that bad.
What advice would you give future sports podcasts looking to get started?
I would say just start, man. We went into this not really knowing anything about a podcast, and we're learning each day, like, of how to like operate and improve the show. And also just be yourself. There's tons of sports podcasts, basketball podcasts out there, and we probably all spewing the same information, but it's how you dress it up. And people gravitate towards personality, so just be yourself, show your personality out there, and I feel like people will definitely gravitate towards your show.
I'm gonna double down on that. The James's first point, just do it. Not to sound too Nike. Just do it. Just dive right in, head on. If you think you want to do it, just try. Again, there's a lot. It's a little. The market is a little oversaturated with. No matter what you start, if you start football, if you started talking anything even if it was a non-sports related thing, pop culture, music, whatever, there's a lot of saturation of the market. So just don't be intimidated by other shows, and just dive right in. And to James's point about being yourself, just have fun with it. Right. I mean, you're not gonna be Joe Rogan overnight. Just have fun with it, and it picks up, but just keep chugging out content, because that's the other thing. I mean, the market can't be oversaturated, but if you just keep putting out your own original content, then you'll catch up eventually.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media and podcast platforms?
Social, we do have a Twitter and Instagram. Their Instagram, where we're putting out a lot of our video content in clip form. They're both handles are Hoops Boys Pod. And that the Hoops Boys Pod is also our Gmail account. That's where we want to drive people to submit questions, and so we can have more fan driven interactions on the show. As far as listing platforms, we have our video channel on YouTube. I know I've had a little bit of an issue getting the Apple feed going, the Apple podcast feed going, but I know for a fact we're on Amazon Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, and we're on Spotify.
For sure.
Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck with Hoop Boys Podcast.
Oh man, thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks for the exposure and good luck with your own continued success of your podcast.
For sure.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Hoop Boys Podcast, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.